Army General Command stresses in a statement that the Israeli aggression on Al-Qunaitira is designed to divert attention on the victories achieved by the Syrian Arab Army against the terrorists. Ministry of Foreign and Expatriates Affairs, the United States has clearly violated Vienna agreements for diplomatic and consular relations. Syrian Arab Army maintains full control on the town of Ras Al-Ein west of Yabroud as services works start to remove the ruins in Yabroud city. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. In a statement, the General Command of the Syrian Arab Army and Armed Forces has said that in a new violation of the disengagement agreement, the Zionist enemy fired yesterday a number of artillery and tanks shells and anti-armor missiles at the area near Sheta village on Hill 1023, causing material damage. The Zionist enemy's aircraft, the statement added, also targeted this morning Qom al-Wasiyya, Naba al-Fawar and Sa'sa sites in the surroundings of Al-Qunaitira, killing a Syrian soldier and wounding 7 others. A number of terrorists simultaneously launched an attack from the direction of Jordan at a central prison in the city of Dar'a, the command added. This new aggression is an attempt to distract attention away from the successive victories realized by the Syrian Arab Army, particularly in Yabroud, where the Syrian Arab Army dealt a severe blow to the terrorist organizations and their supporters, particularly the Zionist entity, and to boost the morale of the terrorist gangs who have been collapsing under the strikes of the Syrian Arab Army. The General Command of the Syrian Arab Army and Armed Forces has asserted its determination to continue its war on the terrorist organizations and to eliminate them. The command warned that such desperate attempt to escalate tension in the current circumstances through repeating such acts of aggression would only jeopardize the region's security and stability and make it open to all possibilities. The Foreign and Expatriates Ministry has issued a statement criticizing the American manipulation of facts. The U.S. State Department, the statement said, has blown up in a new political fad on its part the basic legal principle of consular work when it involved the honorary consulates in politics, stripping them of their exclusive objectives in serving nationals and safeguarding their interests, and when it suspended the work of the Syrian embassy in Washington, thus cancelling all the privileges and diplomatic immunities enjoyed by embassies and consulates. Its aim, the statement added, is to serve certain purposes that contravene diplomatic and consular relations as stipulated in the 2 Vienna agreements. The ministry said the American measure has thus exposed the real objectives of the American policy against Syria and against Syrian citizens, considering it as an additional step in the American support of terrorism and bloodshed, a policy that encourages the spread of terrorism in the region and the world. Syrian Arab Army units have maintained control on Ras Al-Ein southwest of Yabroud in Damascus Countryside, eliminating a large number of terrorists and destroying their criminal tools. The Council of Damascus Suburbs Governorate held its second ordinary session in Yabroud today, stressing the need to precipitate the rehabilitation of infrastructure in order to create the suitable circumstances for the return of the inhabitants to the city. The governorate's workshops continue maintenance work, cleaning streets and removing the rubble. The governor of Damascus Countryside, Engineer Hussein Makhlouf, inspected the work of the concerned sites and the efforts exerted to restore services and provide citizens' needs. Governor Makhlouf said a sum of 600 million Syrian pounds has been spent to bring life back to normal to the city. In Damascus, 9 citizens were injured by a mortar shell fired by terrorists hitting the main street near Al-Shweihed Park. 2 cars were also damaged. In a delicate and qualitative operation, the Syrian Arab Army destroyed a tunnel used by terrorists, which is 110 meters long, connecting Jobar with Damascus Countryside, where the armed terrorist groups are stationed. The tunnel was used to transport weapons and wounded terrorists to the main headquarters. The tunnel was completely destroyed, killing all the terrorists inside it. The Syrian Arab Army also destroyed a number of terrorist dens following the destruction of the tunnel. In Homs's western countryside, Syrian Arab Army units and National Defense troops killed and wounded a number of terrorists in an ambush west of Azara in a Rastan area and destroyed 4 boats used by terrorists. The Syrian Arab Army units also assumed full control of the farms of Bilal overlooking Al-Shweihed town in Al-Husn area. In support of the Syrian Arab Army in its fight against terrorism, displaced people who took shelters in Judaydat al-Fadl and Artuz took to the streets in a massive march in support of the Syrian Arab Army. Residents of Al-Qunaitira and people from the neighboring areas in Damascus Countryside also took part in the march. Participants held the national Syrian flags and carried banners glorifying the sacrifices of the Syrian Arab Army, asserting their full support for those who defend the country against the terrorists. They also emphasized their firm stance in the face of the conspiracy. Russian Foreign Ministry condemned in a statement today the crimes committed by armed terrorist groups in Syria, especially the mortars fired against the civilians and residential areas, like the car bomb exploded in Al-Zahra neighborhood on the 17th of March, killing and wounding a number of citizens. The Russian Foreign Ministry added that the Syrian Arab Army is working effectively against the terrorists and maintaining control in a number of areas like the city of Yabroud in Damascus Countryside, used as a safe haven for terrorists. The statement pointed out that the liberation of Yabroud caused the killing of a large number of terrorists affiliated to Al-Nusra Front. Welcome back. In Tripoli, north of Lebanon, gunmen detonated an explosive device in a Lebanese army vehicle near the Faculty of Science in Mahallat al-Qubba, injuring a number of army personnel. Army vehicles have been attacked yesterday night with grenades and shells fired by armed men in the neighborhoods of At-Tabbane and Talayat al-Umari as new clashes erupted in other neighborhoods. Takfiri armed men affiliated to Al-Mustaqbal Current continued blocking the roads in the city, wandering around in the streets with their arms and occasionally shooting gunfire. Finally, Crimea. National Defense Forces stormed the Ukrainian Navy headquarters in the Black Sea port of Sevastopol today, taking it over without resistance. Hundreds of unarmed men took down the gate and made their way into the base. They then raised the Russian flag on the square by the headquarters. Meanwhile, Crimea's first Deputy Prime Minister, Rustom Tinir-Galiev, said that Crimea has received the first batch of financial aid from Russia. Tinir-Galiev added that Crimea is also expected to get the tax revenues for the first time next May or June, and then it will not be in need of a lot of support. Tinir-Galiev pointed out that dealing with the Russian ruble in Crimea is expected to start in April. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Vani Genjian, but after a short break. Hill 1023, causing material damage. The Zionist enemy's aircraft, the statement added, also targeted this morning Qom al-Wasiyya, Naba al-Fawar and Sa'sa sites in the surroundings of Al-Qunaitira, killing a Syrian soldier and wounding 7 others. A number of terrorists simultaneously launched an attack from Ras Al-Ein west of Yabroud as services works start to remove the ruins in Yabroud city. Army General Command stresses in a statement that the Israeli aggression on Al-Qunaitira is designed to divert attention on the victories achieved by the Syrian Arab Army against the terrorists. Ministry of Foreign and Expatriates Affairs, the United States has clearly violated Vienna agreements for diplomatic and consular relations. Syrian Arab Army maintains full control on the Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. In a statement, the General Command of the Syrian Arab Army and Armed Forces has said that in a new violation of the disengagement agreement, the Zionist enemy fired yesterday a number of artillery and tank shells and anti-armor missiles at the area near Shita village on